Greetings. My name is Michael Miller. This is a Michael Miller trademark training video out to you because you're watching. Welcome. And I meant to say greetings. Welcome. It's also meant for Michael Miller Pilates licensed affiliates, the Corner Corps, and anyone interested in surviving and thriving as a Pilates instructor. Do you recognize this symbology? I had years of traveling internationally, professing and sharing my point of view of Pilates, and it wasn't until later that I was driving through southern Utah and the petroglyphs, and the meaning of the Kokopelli and the impressions of that art that long ago, and the tune that I have carried and that I sing now or play now is what I hope you can hear and find fun in. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7. 7 items today. Number 1, wanting more Pilates. I remember when all I wanted was more Pilates. And refining that or limiting that to part of the more that I wanted was more exercises. What else is there? Especially because when I was wanting more exercises, there was little to no documentation available. Unlike now, where you can go to hermit.com, my website, and see a vast array of, well, I consider to be 98% of the classical exercises in their order and represented by picture, and some video, but not everything. Wanting more, documenting the exercises. And for me, wanting more was in terms of inversions on the Cadillac, when you're hanging upside down, from your grip at the wrists, and it was in my lesson I had with Ramana, one of them, that, not that I had a lot, not that I had a little, but I had more than one. And on this particular session with Ramana, I wanted to know more about inversions, right? Because I like them so much. They were so challenging, and they are what they are. And so this wanting of more Pilates and having more Pilates as an expression of more exercises, when you're learning from someone that knew and worked with Joe, or someone that knew somebody that knew and worked with Joe, or somebody that knew and lived and worked with Joe, you know, however tight the heritage can be, what you want to know, what you want is more Pilates. And what do you know more about inversions? Takes me to number 2, and the insight I got from the time when I pressed Ramana for what's more, give me more to do on the inversions. And she sort of said, well, let me think. And she went through the expressions that I was familiar with, and it seemed that she was familiar with, because she said something to the effect of, well, then I suppose you would go to, and recited a pattern of movement that existed in other areas of the original work, but she obviously hadn't thought of as applying an extension of pattern to what she knew about already. See what I'm saying? She applied the pattern that existed in the original work and went somewhere new that didn't exist originally as an exercise. Now, is that Pilates or not? See, and that's always the question. And I would say, to the extent that, see, someone intimately acquainted with Pilates as a subject and point of view, when pressed for more exercises, extended what they knew about pattern already into an area that had nothing new to be offered unless you did that. And so in doing that, right, in doing that, I wrote it down, in doing that, 1, 2, I think we're on 2. In doing that, I watched her extract a pattern or extract exercises from the pattern. And in doing that, shows how the pattern extends the words to be consistent with the pattern that's already there. So the point is that the language is already there and in it, and that when you recognize the pattern of the words, you can then speak the language. And that's the pattern of the exercises. And we're understanding the pattern of the exercises enables you to speak the language that the pattern represents. So is it Pilates or isn't it Pilates? Well, one exercise is tough because Pilates is a pattern, and so the more exercises or words you use within a time frame, the more it seems apparent or not, by virtue of the order of the exercises and what they are and how they're done, the words and how they're expressed. But more than words is the grammar, which the Pilates culture at large is unaware of, and many within it choose to ignore. And there's also a realm of those who hear it and don't get it, or it doesn't matter that much. But my job is try to be as clear to you as I can be about this distinction between wanting more and this insatiable desire for more exercise. What else is there, right? What else is there? Because I'm fit, I was fit and could do anything that you could find, that you could express, but it's like, what is there? Show me what is there, and show me what's been there. Show me what comes directly from the originator of the method. Right? Swimming upstream to get as close to the essence as possible. So, and so that's where you go from one level of understanding or point of view to a whole nother level where you go beyond exploring words and for exercises, whether they're old words or new words, and having an understanding that there is pattern within the exercises, and therefore the grammar that is in situ, meaning it's there already. Just look at the order of Joe's exercises, look at what happens, and grammar is apparent. And as soon as you're willing to look at grammar, it sets you free to speak the language. One thing, because you're aware that a language exists, and in understanding that it exists, that's one huge step. And then knowing the grammar is another huge step, because it sets you free to have a confidence in what you choose next to be Pilates, because you're at least aware of one point of view that is an ideal point of view. And rather than just pure whimsy or pure intuition, it's at least one point of view to inspire how you navigate as a Pilates instructor. So that was, I lost a page. That was number 2. My insight from Ramana and the revelation that the recognition, there you go, because MMP identifies the ideal within Pilates. That's just a point of view. It's an advertising claim. There may be nothing to it, but the claim is MMP points to an ideal within the original work, right? And that ideal expresses an understanding of grammar within the original work, and that grammar that exists in it, it's already there. If you're aware of the grammar, it empowers you and helps you thrive as an instructor. So in number 3, I'm talking about exercises or words, and how you put them together is the grammar. And for the 10,000 views of Pilates that are all, a product, the main thing is the mother of all those points of view. Number 4, dresses and spacesuits is the title. So with dresses, they're always changing, and they're always something I think that's meant to be worn, and it's meant to be comfortable and appear attractive, and all of that is an artistic expression depending upon the who's looking at it as well as who's wearing it, right? And how you construct them doesn't dramatically alter your chances for survival in wearing them. Okay. Hence, the other subject, spacesuits. So, spacesuits, in many ways, are all designed in the same way, because they're designed to do one thing, which is to help you survive in one environment, whereas if you're a fashion designers, you're trying to survive on the runway, and so what you do there is one expression, and what you do in space is another expression of two different environments. But for me, I see space having a more constricted range of tolerance for what you can survive in versus what you can express subjectively. Okay? So number 5 is just a string of characters, meaning MMP gets you to the presence of grammar. Because within the Pilates culture, nobody's really pointing that out. Nobody's really saying that Pilates as an essence, is a process. It's sequential, and the sequentiality has meaning. And to the extent that at what you instruct either harmonizes or takes distance from this original essence that's been there, is there, and will be there, no matter how it's pressed to be presented by whomever. Number six, posture isn't art. So what's the difference between spacesuits and dresses? Is it spacesuits don't have the flexibility or the range of expression to be artistic as much as they've got to be functional. And so that goes to a comparison of dance to Pilates as well. Dance has the whole realm of art that it explores, but Pilates deals more with reality and existence and physics and biology, and extracts an expression of movement from the structure it's in that isn't quite so demanding in the world of artistic improv, whether it's dresses or paint or sculpture or movement. Posture is an art. Number 6, posture is an art. Number 6. See, I think ears are closed to the message of Pilates has an essence of its own and you just can't make up what you want. Because it's far too much fun to make up what you want or to embrace it as any way you want, as though it's a personal thing and there's nothing beyond personal about it. It's all art. Well, so my point in number 6, that posture is an art. So that Joe picture, that Joe picture where it's a frontal picture, and I have to move back farther. And it's about this big, and it's with Joe looking. Now, the original copy that I have, Joe is looking off to the right. And I think in reality, that's an accurate representation of the left side profile, because from a boxing accident in England, He had a glass eye in his right eye. So the deal was capturing a look that didn't capture his glass eye. Now, in Photoshop, for my purposes, I think he's looking at something, and yet, whether it's upstream or downstream, the point of the story about posture is that I think that posture that Joe's in, right, the arrangement of his shoulders, I know you can't see much of it, but look it up, Joe's posture in that classic picture where he's looking, and I don't know how, this is my right, I don't know, I think that will appear then as your left. By trying to match up the notion in English-speaking country of watching the carousel move from left to right, like reading does, in looking in the direction of where the carousel is coming from, makes it anticipatory which coincides with the whole notion of Pilates being a conditioning effort, which is anticipating and doing something now in anticipation of what is to come. The posture thing is like space suits, because it's not an arbitrary subjective thing how it's made. Here's what I wanted to say. Just like space suits are not arbitrary and subjective in the way they're made, neither is posture. Neither is posture. And that's another thing. It's as though the assumption is that we are fish swimming in water and we're not bearing the burden of our own weight in space. And yet we do. And so the environment we're in takes a toll. Especially if we go into outer space, we need a spacesuit just to survive. Here down on Earth, just to survive, we need to move. And the movement that gives us our posture, our ability to reach into posture, in my opinion, and from my point of view, isn't a subjective thing. This whole interaction of rotation around the ears and rotation at the shoulders, not to say anything of how the ribs pull down and connect into the rotation of the hips, being engaged in core new tension, reaches into the ideal engagement that makes alignment sensational and engagement uniform. So posture is an art. Number 7. My point is, it's lucky to be ignored to the point that you're numb to it and you don't care anymore, because you really find that regardless of recognition or not, you'd be doing it with or without the recognition. And so hopefully that helps me frame my mind to you hearing this. Whenever and however it comes to you. There's a sense of relief involved. So, in that thirst for more and that passion for more and more Pilates, more Pilates, more Pilates, in your rush to get more exercises, and the obvious 10,000 views of Pilates that are multiplying about what is or isn't Pilates. Knowing that there is structure to the words, knowing that a grammar exists. So like, how thick is a dictionary, right? And you can add more words and more words. Oh, you can go way back and add more words, right? So my suggestion to you is that you then go to another plane when you realize that the words have structure in their original expression throughout Joe's original work. You only need the map, but you see the same throughout all the rest of his work, right? In this quest for wanting more, being passionate, wanting more Pilates and more exercises and more engagement, well, the thought in my head right now is what people really want is more of what I suggest is the experience that is attainable, which is that, you know what that is. And so it's like somebody that doesn't want to grow up yet, or someone that only wants to look at something in a particular way, even though there's a bigger reality in which the chosen point of view exists. I think there's a letdown or a disappointment when you exhaust enough people's dictionaries of words that of exercises that they know, right? And in some ways it's much better to just stay focused on the exercises and apply them like for issues and stay completely out of context for some points of view. But the consolation in recognizing that there's only so many exercises, especially exercises that were originally done or taught by Joe and Joe's studio. When you go looking for what lies beyond that, or when I make up exercises, how do I know if it's Pilates? As B. Veer Pilates asked me a long time ago, and I name that space because they're using Instagram to express themselves, herself, and it seems very state-of-the-art. Instagram, you hold on to all your art because you can't download it or copy it or take it like you can on Facebook. So your data stays closer to you and under more of your own control. But so much used as a platform for advertising and education, right? And so for promotion and delivery. B-E-R-V-I-R, which I think means be alive. Be alive Pilates, be Veer Pilates. Um, Life can't live forever. Read between the lines, see behind the curtain, add two and two. D- d- direct your thinking. Geist.